Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to my shop, but I'm leaving it too. You can see we're out here warming up. I know the title of this is an oil change, and it is. We're going to take it out here for a minute or two, get it warmed up, that way the oil will drain good. All right, let's turn that heat down, that fan down. Let's put it on low. It's about 28, I think 28 to 29 degrees out, so it's a little chilly. So we're going to go first off, we're going to top the gas tank off so I can get to the bottom of that fuel tank sender issue that we troubleshot in the previous video. Should be popping up around here somewhere. And then we're going to warm this thing up, run it hard a little bit, get it good and hot, and we're going to bring it back and start the oil change. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. Thinks he's in a vet, doesn't he? And get us some gas and head to the hacienda. I just put 10 gallons in it, topped it off. I can't put any more in it, and look, it's only registering a little over half a tank. So I bet you that float is gotten more fuel in it. We'll see shortly. Well, all right, we are down underneath this beast. That oil is good and warmed up, And this is a, believe it or not, a 7/8 bolt for the oil drain plug. They believed in size back in the day. If you notice, it's kind of wet around it a little bit. So I don't know where this leaking is coming from, if it's the pan or the rear main oil seal, both of which I've put new in. So we'll find out as we go. So let's get, well, that really wasn't that that tight. Well, it could have been just that. See, I noticed a few drops directly underneath where this is. So that really wasn't as tight as it should have been. And it's been that way for, gosh, well, 3,000 miles. I don't have a ratcheting wrench in 7/8. Largest I have in ratcheting is 3/4. So, and he's not hand loose yet. Almost. Okay, he's about there. Get him lined up. All right. Seeing as how it's winter, and I'm wanting to standardize all my fleet, all my toys and tractors and everything into a 1540. I've been running, I broke this engine in on 30 weight, and I've been running straight 30 weight for its entire life. I'm going to look, but I believe now I've got, see, this is the third, I think I've got about 12,000 miles on this engine since I've rebuilt it. So anyway, and you can see here I put a nylon washer on there, but that didn't really feel real tight. So I'm gonna leave him down here and him, and we're going to let that dude drain and go from there. All right, this is a bypass oil filter. Normally I can go a couple little changes before I swap this out, but I'm gonna go ahead and swap him out anyway, since this is the I haven't swapped it out since I put it in. So that's a 5/8 wrench up top here. All right. And that's the bolt here. And you want to make sure that there's any washers that may come off, you want to keep track of. See, there's a copper washer there. You want to make sure you keep track of him, because that helps make the seal. There's actually, you know, quite a bit of pressure that accumulates in there. All right, let me get my and here he comes off. All right. Make sure you get the spring. And there's the oil filter right there. Now here's the seal. Now the new oil filter should come with a new seal. So, all right, let's pull him up. All right. All right. I'm gonna let him kind of sit like that till I get a tray to put him in. All right. And I still managed to get some spilt. Now, if you notice, I poked you down in there. You see, there's still some oil left down in there. Now, you can't see it, but right here, where my finger is on the bottom, there's actually another drain plug where you can actually drain that down too. And looking down in there, I really don't see anything shiny or any kind of rainbow looking deal. So I think we're all right anyway. All right, well, I drained the bypass oil filter and I cut off a quart plastic jug, and actually the amount of oil that was in the filter housing was more than this much. So I probably could have got away with about another 1.5 to 2 inches maximum, and it would have caught all of it besides spilling it down. So, and you need something flexible to fit down in there. So that worked, other than it wasn't tall enough to catch all of it. So basically there's at least a 1/2 quart of oil, if not a little bit more, that is retained in that bypass oil filter. And I got it all out. I drained it down. It was a 9/16 bolt, drain bolt that goes up in the bottom of it. So what I like to do now is unlike some of the pros, I do like to pre-fill filters and filter housing some before I button them up. I just feel like the oil gets to the circulated faster. So, but this being a bypass oil filter, it really doesn't matter, because oil is going to get, it's not even going to go to this filter before it goes to the mains and the cam bearings, and also getting up to the top end. So it really doesn't matter in this case, but I'm going to do it anyway. I want to partially fill it anyway, because make sure I got it tight and it's not leaking. Okay. That's about as much of it was in it. Okay. And I am going back with 1540. I like Wix filters. It's 51100. All right. There's the new filter, and there's the new gasket or seal, O-ring. All right. That's pretty much what he looks like. All right. Got a little handle. Push him down on there. All right. Sure he bottoms out. There's a spring. I'm putting the O-ring in the top, all right? Might as well coat him a little bit, all right? There we go. Coat both sides. All right, got both sides coated. Put him down like that. The crush washer is still up there, all right? And he screws down just like on there. Now there is a lot of, I mean, the same oil pressure, which is probably warmed up, well, cold, it's over 35 psi. So there's 35 psi coming up the line into this filter. So it's got to make, you got to make sure you get it good and tight so it seals. What it does is, the way a bypass filter, it comes in, fills in around the filter, goes through the filter, and there, where this pipe that that goes down through the center, and this bolt screws into, well, it ties into the bottom hose here, and that's where it drains into the block. Now there's a small hole about 3/4 of the way up, like a, I don't know, a 3/16. It's just a small hole. And the oil, all the oil in this filter, that after it gets through the filter, goes through that hole to get into that tube to drain down into the block. The reason why it's so small is to make sure it doesn't rob any pressure from the rest of the engine. So it's like a governor, kind of the way a governor would work. That restriction, or almost like a jet, I guess, allows only so much oil to go through to drain back down, that it does not take away pressure from the rest of the engine. Because remember, these engines did not come factory with this was an option. This was a dealer add-on option. Matter of fact, see, this was some of you all that don't know the story. This truck was originally purchased brand new by my wife's uncle. All right, and it was his farm truck. And he paid the dealer extra money to put this option, to get this optional bypass oil filter. The oil filter itself cost $5, and the labor to install it was $3, and that was back in 1949. Isn't that something? Another thing that was optional back in the day was the horn. It didn't come with a horn, and it did not come with a heater. They ended up purchasing the heater and installing it themselves. I explained that in a past video. I may touch on it again, but just keep in mind that when you bought these trucks and you opted for the basic package, you didn't get a bypass oil filter, you didn't get a horn, and you didn't get a heater. You didn't get a radio either. So anyway. Let's add some engine oil. Probably ain't better. Right on the mark. Now it'll probably, once I run it some, it'll probably take about a half a quart or a little less than that more. But right now it's right on the mark, so we'll hold it right there. All right, we got the oil in, we got the plug. I didn't show put the plug back in, but I put the plug in down at the bottom. Got this secured up top. Let's start it up. Make sure the oil's at the proper level and builds up oil pressure. I've got exhaust vents on the exhaust, so we're all right. We're good to go. It's amazing how fast it cools off. Oil pressure's good, showing well over 30 at the peg. See if I can kick it down now. That's the only thing bad about the automatic chokers. They've got to warm up and open up enough to
kick off the high idle cam. I want to get it down to regular idle before I shut it down. The valves sound good. I don't believe I need to adjust them. There you go. Still showing pegged at 30, so that means the oil, once the oil warms up, it's not the normal, the SOP is around 15 at idle. But anything above idle, it'll max out over 30. Still looking good. We're going to put some gauges and all to it. I'll cover that in some related videos after this. I guess I'll just keep this one as the oil change. But we'll need to get under there. I want to check the transmission level, the rear end level. It don't need it, but I'll probably grease it. And so I'll just cover that in the following episodes. Also, I've got a brand new fuel cylinder to put in this thing. So, anyway, I decided to go with the whole cylinder as opposed to just the float. So anyway. Looks like it's down almost a quart. About, so I topped it. I was at the very fill mark before I started it. And I did put oil in the bypass oil filter canister. But after running it and sitting here for a couple of moments, I'm at least 3/4 of a quart lower. So you can attribute that to all sorts of things. Anyway. Now I'm going to guesstimate somewhere in there that was less than a quart that was in that jug. We'll see, and I can pump it out if I need to. This one thing good. This engine's pretty tight. It doesn't have. I mean, it weeps a little bit. When I put the harmonic balance on the front, I didn't put a speedy sleeve on it when I should have. So I get a little weep, even though I did put a brand new seal in the timing cover. If there's a groove worn in the harmonic balance, it won't seal good, and it does weep out there a little bit. So I've got a speedy sleeve, but it's not weeping out enough to cause me concern at this time. I just keep a piece of cardboard under there, and I'm fine. And it does weep out. I'm going to check some more, but I think I may have some loose oil pan nuts or bolts. And these are stove bolt. These aren't quarter 20s with the 7/16 heads. These are actual stove bolt screws. So I'll make sure those are good and tight. And but like I say, it's not enough to really cause concern. And it's kind of wet on the side of the transmission. So on the side, so I'm thinking some the bushings on the shifter control rods that come out maybe probably worn, and so the transmission probably needs rebuilt. And that'll happen one day, but it's not enough to cause me too much concern at this particular time. So anyway, well, let's double check now, see what that did to us. Right, smack dab on the line. Yes, sir, that's where I want it. Okay. All right, so we'll see how that 1540 does. Like I said, I broke this in on straight 30, and I've been running straight 30 on all the previous oil changes. So that means 12,000 miles on this. It should be now broke in engine, and that should be drained down good. So no smoke. It sounds good. I can get out here, run the interstate, but I really don't want to push it that hard, and that with that 411 gear and torque tube and everything. But it's a good, strong engine, and I'm real happy with it. It'll with that cam, it has more top end. It doesn't start dying out at 3,000 RPM. It just it's almost like it has another gear, and all the way to 4,000 RPM, this thing pulls, and it'll pull past 4,000 RPM, and I've taken it past it a couple times. I believe I've had it up to about 4,200, maybe 43, but I didn't hold it there long because the speedometer was bouncing on 80. So, and I don't normally cruise it that way anyway. So anyway, I put, well, it's hard to judge, but I know from past, with the bypass oil filter, I've got about a little over 6 quarts of oil in it. I am now running 1540, and which should be even better for it here in the wintertime. But we'll see how it does, see if the engine just makes any more noise or anything once the warm weather hit. But I think 1540 is going to be a good oil for it. And I kind of like Rotella, all right? Not a sponsor, but Rotella is just a good commercial grade oil, and it's good enough for me to, even though it is diesel rated, there is no problem running a diesel rated oil in a gasoline internal combustion engine. I know some people will say there is. But the fact of the matter is, this oil is designed to suspend, this engine new. Okay, we'll cover this real quick. New, when this engine came out, they didn't have detergent oils, they had non-detergent. And what a non-detergent oil would do is anything, the byproducts of combustion, carbon, all the other, byproducts of combustion that was picked up by the oil, it would actually stick to the side of the block and to the head and to the rotating components. It wouldn't stay suspended in the oil. Now, along came your detergent oil, and what it does is it cleans the walls and of the cylinders, the crankcase, head, all internal surfaces where that oil flows, the bearings, and it keeps the crud suspended with the goal of being deposited into a filter. Now, your standard automotive filters, they pass, X amount of microns of oil and also byproducts of the combustion. Bypass oil filters are actually more fine. In other words, they stop even smaller particles in the oil than your standard oil filters, full flow oil filters do. All right. But the thing is, since it is a bypass, half the oil, or the majority of the oil, is flowing. Once it comes out of the oil pump, it hits that long oil gallery that runs the length of the block, okay? Runs that oil gallery, and it hits passages that goes to each main bearing, hits another passage, it goes up to each cam bearing, okay? And in this 54 235, the rear cam bearing has the passage drilled into it and tapped with a little oil line that runs through the pan and up, and that's how you get oil to your top end, to your valves, okay? So oil, once it leaves the pump, runs to that gallery, goes to the main bearings, cam bearings, then it gets up to the top end and lubricates the rockers. Now, maybe not half. I'd say not half, because the orifice in the block is so much smaller than the orifices in the that feeds the oil to the bearings. So let's say, theoretically, a third of the oil will go bypass, go up and registers on your oil gauge, and goes and dumps into your bypass oil filter, where it cleans the oil and dumps it back in the pan, okay? About a third. They say that eventually, when you're out driving, all the oil will pass through that filter at one point or another, okay? So, unlike a modern car where the oil goes through the filter before it gets distributed in the engine, this only takes a bypass. That's why they call it the bypass oil filter. So anyway, some old timers will tell you it's a waste of time to put one in and a waste of money. I know of a few that'll tell you that's the first thing they'll do if they buy an old truck or an old car from the 40s and they see one of them, they take them off because they don't feel like they're worth the effort or the expense to have them. I'm of another opinion. I feel like some filtering is better than none, okay? Now, you still want to change your oil at 3,000 mile intervals, and so that's not a change, but there is some filtering going on. We'll see. I got over 100,000 miles on that 216 that was in this truck. I know that because I had an oil change sticker from Glee, the previous owner. From his last oil change, it had the mileage at 99,400 and some. And I put, after I got it running with a rebuilt head, I put another 20,000 miles on that engine before I pulled it and put this rebuilt 235 in here. So well over 100,000 miles on that 216 engine. It was tired though. I'm hoping to get as good or better service out of this one. So we'll see. So anyway, I guess we'll close this video down. So if you never changed the oil in one of these old things, that's how easy it is. Okay. If you don't have a bypass oil filter, that's fine. All you got to do is change the oil and make sure you put the proper amount back in. You should do some other checks, and perhaps I should cover them too. But I'm gonna do another video on just another. I've done a preventative maintenance series. I guess I'll do a new one because I definitely have to adjust these brakes, and when I go to do that, I'll explain how I know I need to adjust them. So anyway, that's that. So I hope everything's going good with you and yours. Everything's going good here. Can't complain. Won't do me no good to complain anyway, even though I somehow managed to get oil all over everything on a simple oil change. Well, that's just the way it works. So have a good one, and I hope to see you around on the next one. See you.